So, Blake Ostler in his on page 53. Now he has a very interesting quote. It's such a good quote that I put it up here, and I'm going to read it to you out loud here in just a second. Let me give you the background to this. He's discussing the way that Israel was appointed to Yahweh, so to speak, or Yahweh took Israel as his allotment, as his inheritance, as the other gods were giving the other nations, were given the other nations to be over and in charge of. Now, Paul Sanders points out that Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 19 and 20, this refers to the same belief that the nations were divided according the gods or hosts of heaven, but that Yahweh reserved Israel for his own inheritance. And I want to read this quote because it's so good. Now, one of the clearest parallels to Deuteronomy chapter 32, verses 8 and 9, is Deuteronomy chapter 4, 19 and 20. This is where Moses tells that Yahweh once allotted, the Hebrew word is halak. Halak. He allotted the host of heaven. Now notice this. The host of heaven is the Tseva Shamayim. This is the heavenly host. This is the council of the gods. This is the host of heaven. We are in the divine realm here. He allotted the host of heaven to the people, but he kept Israel for himself. So, this is important. It is absolutely clear, according to Sanders, that, and this is Deuteronomy 4, 19 and 20. In this chapter, in these verses, it is absolutely clear that other gods besides Yahweh are meant by this heavenly host. The heavenly host are absolutely other gods, not human judges, not angels, not imaginary beings. These are other gods. The heavenly host is consisting of the stars. The heavenly host is the stars, but the stars are called the Bene Elohim, the sons of God. This is so fascinating. Like the Tseva Shamayim, the host of heaven, the expression Bene Elohim, the sons of God, designate deities. Not angels, not human judges. The Bene Elohim designate deities according to Paul Sanders. And then he says, compare the expressions in 1 Kings 22:19 with, that also have the Tseva Shamayim, that is, the hosts of heaven. So this other scripture, 1 Kings 22:19, has this expression, the host of heaven, with Job 1:6 and Job 2:1. And what these have is the Bene Elohim, the sons of God. For Sanders, this suggests these designations can relate to the same beings. The hosts of heaven, the stars, are the same as the Bene Elohim, the sons of God. And he says, Job 38:7 has the Kokave Boker. The Kokave Boker are the morning stars. And in this same verse, the morning stars, the Kokave Boker, are parallel to the Bene Elohim, to the sons of God. They occur in parallelism, showing that the morning stars are designated as real beings, as real divine beings. So, you're starting to get the feel for the expression of the council of the gods? Or you're starting to begin to see the variety of contexts and the ways that the synonyms, the different synonyms are utilized to discuss this divinity. This is definitely divine beings. I thought that expression, I thought that quote by Paul Sanders was extremely important to see in full. So, there's that element. Now, with that in mind, it bears keeping in mind that there may be more than one, there may be different Yahwehs in pre-exilic Israel. There is epigraphic evidence that shows, this is on page 53 of Osler, he says there's epigraphic evidence that shows that there were local Yahwehs, Yahweh of Samaria, Yahweh of Taman, just as 2 Samuel 15, 7 and 8 refers to Yahweh of Hebron. The reason that this recognition of local Yahwehs is of overriding importance is that the primary text that is constantly cited as the creed of monotheism is the Shema, found in Deuteronomy 6, verses 4 through 9. It is often translated as follows: Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. However, if we let the Hebrew read as it is written, it does not support metaphysical monotheism like that. Literally, perhaps more accurately translated, the Shema may have been a statement of mono-Yahwism rather than monotheism. And I've written up the Shema here. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Now, Eloheinu, the nun with the vav with the u, this is a plural ending. It's our. So this can translate, hear Israel, Shema Yisrael, hear Israel. Yahweh, our Elohim, Eloheinu, this is our Elohim. This is possessive. Yahweh Eloheinu, our Elohim, Yahweh one. Yahweh Echad. Adonai is how they say it. So they say, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. This may not be a statement of monotheism. This may be a statement of mono-Yahwism. There is only one Yahweh that Israel is to be attached to. That is the basis of the Shema. It's very interesting that there's only one Yahweh, not only one God. See the difference there? That's a very interesting difference, isn't it? As J.H. Tigay noted, he said, for all of its familiarity, the precise meaning of the Shema is uncertain, and it permits several possible meanings. Now, the present translation here indicates that the verse is a description of the proper relationship between Yahweh and Israel. He alone is Israel's God. This is not a declaration of monotheism, meaning that there is only one God. Often the Shema is taken to establish Yahweh's uniqueness, and this is accurate. However, Hebrew uses a different word to mean one and only, or unique, that refers to an only child, or a person who is alone. That is not what echad means. Echad does not mean that. More appropriately, the Shema is a plea to listen to Yahweh alone among the gods, because to listen to the gods of the other nations demonstrates disloyalty to Yahweh as the God of Israel. See, the Old Testament is Israel's record. We don't have the records, although we're getting them, but we don't have all the records of all the other nations and their gods. What we have in the Hebrew Old Testament is not world history. It is a partial lineage history of Israel. That's all the Old Testament really is. The entire chapter is an exhortation, Deuteronomy 6, is an exhortation by Moses to Israel to hear the commandments of Yahweh alone. Though there is only one God of Israel, the Shema is consistent with the view that there are many gods who have been apportioned to oversee other nations, and this is recognized in Deuteronomy chapter 32, verses 8 and 9. So it's perfectly consistent. This is not a monotheistic statement. This is a Yahweh only for Israel statement. I think that's very, very well done, very well understood now. The assertion that there is only one Yahweh is followed by a commandment to love Yahweh alone. Only Yahweh. And you shall love Yahweh your God with all your heart, all your soul, with all your might. See, this love that is commanded refers to the language of Near Eastern political loyalty oaths.